Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the sixth Reach Europe webinar on the Transnational Virtual Access of Opportunity provided by Horizon Europe and Horizon 2020 fundings. My name is Andrea Pantarelli. I am Deputy Coordinator for Reach Europe project. Reach Europe is a long-term project that gather all the research infrastructures NCPs, and Reach Europe provides services both to the NCPs community but also to all the scientific communities of stakeholders in the research infrastructures field, as such as this webinar, for example. Before giving the floor to our speakers that I strongly thank for their participation, I will give you a short presentation on the transnational and virtual access opportunities. I will share with you my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Okay. What is a transnational and virtual access that we can sometimes find with the acronym TNA? When we talk about transnational and virtual access, we talk about physical or virtual access to research infrastructures for researchers. What does it mean? It means that some projects, as the ones that we have today with us, give the opportunity for researchers to access virtually or physically to their research infrastructures facilities. And researchers has the opportunity to have travel accommodation according to the budget, of course, of the project, to have travel accommodation and subsistence cost reimbursed. And the access to the research infrastructures is totally free. Which are the core principles that are on the base of the transnational and virtual access? First of all, it is important to say that the European Commission strongly enhanced the transnational virtual access opportunities because it is a way to enhance and support the scientific community and the European research area. Transnational virtual access has to respect the FAIR principles and the promotion of the open science, and the facilities that and the projects that give this kind of opportunities to researchers has to respect the principles that are encompassed in the European Charter for Access to Research Infrastructures. Transnational access to infrastructure services offered under the grant of the project is provided free of charge to selected researchers of a research team users group, including from industry. Therefore, researchers from industry, academia, scientific centers can get the opportunity to access virtually or physically to the research infrastructures. When the group of scientists or researchers or just the single individual get the opportunity to access to the research infrastructures, they can use free of charge the services, the tools, the equipment of the European research infrastructures. And as I said before, in some cases, according to the budget that the projects that give this kind of opportunity has, also the accommodation for the period of the research is covered. As Reach Europe, we we support the potential applicant for transnational and virtual access with our database. What does it mean? Reach Europe has a database that encompasses all the projects that give the possibility to access virtually or physically to the research infrastructures. A potential applicant can visit our webinar, our database, where they can find all the relevant information on the projects that offer this kind of opportunity, and that they can, as we can see here, this is a view of our database. They can look for the project they would like to apply for according to the category of the field that the project refers to, but also according to the type of access that could be virtual or physical, but also based on the status of the call. It means if the call is open or it's forthcoming or it's closed. Moreover, Reach Europe foster the research community in this sector with a specific webinar on the transnational and virtual access. What we do is to select specific projects that provide this kind of opportunity to present, of course, the project itself, but also to make the scientific community and the researchers to better understand how the virtual and transnational access work. This is really important because, as we said before, there are general principles that characterize the transnational and virtual access opportunities, but at the same time, it is also important to say that each project has its own procedure to apply for this opportunity. If you have further questions about Reach Europe Network or the services that you provide, you can contact us without any problem. Thank you for the attention. And now I will stop the sharing of the screen. I hope that everything was clear. If not, you can contact me after the webinar. And now I will give the floor to our first speaker, Dr. Konrad Lehmann from I3+ project. Welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thanks. I'm trying to share the screen. Probably with this one. Okay, are you seeing the presentation mode?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Then let me briefly introduce you to the I3+ Transnational Access, which is one of the, as it says here, 6 work package in this project. So what it's all about, for those who are not aware of our field of research, HITRI stands for Heavy Ion Therapy Research Initiative, meaning that it's all about the use of heavy ions, usually but not exclusively carbon ions, for the treatment of tumors in patients. And the consortium furthers the ongoing research in the improvement of this method. So it's mostly focused on research on tumor treatment. Method which was in fact established here at GSI more than 25 years ago. And nowadays we have as far as I know 18 centers worldwide who are using carbon ions to treat tumors, 15 existing and two more under construction. And here in Europe we have 5 operating and 1 more in Caen. And these 5 are the ones which are all participating in HITRI+ TNA. So they are the GSI, where I'm located, the Fondazione Knau in Pavia, the Heidelberg Iron Therapy Center in Heidelberg, Med Austria in Vienna, and the University Clinic of Gießen-Marburg, and with the MIT, the Marburg Iron Therapy Center. And what is somewhat particular to our TNA is that in addition to the research branch, which is, as you described, as Andrea described, researchers can apply for projects using our facilities. We also have the more innovative branch of clinical TNA, where these 4 centers, Knau, HIT, MIT, and Med-Austron, which are in fact working therapy centers, offer their support for patients from the Horizon countries to come there. With the fact, till later, the patient treatment costs are not covered, but the travel costs for the accompanying physicians. And so the table on the right just briefly shows the amount of TNA that are available in the that is centers have pledged for both modalities. Let me brief. So now continue with the research TNA. So these are 3 centers, just images from the 3 centers participating in the research branch of the TNA. So we give funding for the beam time costs and for the travel costs. I left out GSI for the beam time cost because for us the participation and the beam assignment is decided in a program advisory committee, which decides on the proposals, which is superior and anterior to the HIT+ decision, but you can still apply for travel costs here. Everywhere else, it's, as Andrea said, coverage of all the costs. You apply with the specific project, which you would usually do after having discussed this with the host institution. Just now to make sure that they have the space and the ability to host you and so on, and to make the contact. We that submitted, and I noticed that I forgot to put the website anywhere. Maybe you can, Andrea, put it up later. It's www.hitriplus.eu, and then you go to the TNA sub-menus. So all the application process is online. You submit your project, you choose preferred host institution. This is then evaluated by our user selection panel, usually within days, mostly 2 weeks. And then when this is done and approved, the applicants connect directly to the host institutions and settle everything else with them. I showed this with the beam time, which is already provided, to show you that the red portion, so what is free, is pretty little, which is because the project has been running for more than 4 years now, and is nearing its end. I'll come to that again in the summary. Concerning Transnational access for clinical activities, the 4 European clinical treatment centers are all participating. I think this is something quite remarkable about HIT+, that we really managed to collect together all the European centers without internal competition. They're really collaborating very nicely. So this is quite a new idea. We had the idea to offer the access, to improve access to treatment for people from countries which do not have their own treatment center. That was pretty slow going, mostly because demand in physicians was not so high, because we only fund the travel costs for physicians, but physicians usually have a full work table and are not going to accompany their patient abroad for treatment. So we introduced a new modality where physicians can even participate without the patient, with the idea that they learn about this method, acquire some more knowledge in our way of treatment planning, of the abilities of the method, and so on. And this, so we issued a call for therapists and oncologists to apply for clinical TNA, and this has been quite successful. We've had, I think, more than 40 visitors, almost 50 now, at most of these our centers. And this is still ongoing. Again, it also has, we disseminate this in the flyer, which is somewhere on the web as well. And the call is also on the WordPress Plus website, and this is where you apply. So www.historyplus.eu. And has been successful, so that again we have almost at Medaustron, Vienna, and Canal and Pavia. They have had a lot of visitors, and this has now been almost covered. They have basically no room free, but you can still very welcome to apply for a visit to Heidelberg or Marburg to get acquainted with the treatment method. So to summarize briefly, so the target audiences are basically two. The Plus TNA is directed both at researchers and at clinicians, where you get the funding both either for the project on improvement of tumor research using heavy ions, or for a visit to a treatment center in order to get acquainted with this method. The project has just been prolonged until, but exactly now, 1 year from today, more or less. But as I've shown you, we have quite little space left to assign, but still, you're still welcome to apply if you, especially for clinical DNA, if you're interested. Well, thanks for your attention, and I think we have the questions in the end.
Thank you, Conrad, for your presentation, and it is great news that your project has been prolonged for another year, more or less. Then applicants can apply again for to get the access to your labs.
Yeah, well, it has been prolonged but not extended. But what I wanted to show is that I think we have internal talks that we will most probably try to apply for another project afterwards. So we will certainly find a way to open the access to facilities even after the termination of H3+.
Okay. Good luck. Thanks. Then finger crossed. And thank you, Conrad. Now I will give the floor to the next speakers, Nikki Garland from the Atrium project.
Thank you, Andrea. Let me just share my screen with you all. Okay. Hopefully you can see that okay?
Yes, this is the first slide, right?
First slide, yep.
Yeah, perfect.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Nikki Garland. I'm the work package lead for the Transnational Access Scheme for the Atrium project, which is the Advancing Frontier Research in the Arts and Humanities project. Essentially, the goal of the project is to facilitate access to different research infrastructures in the arts and humanities. And we are doing that by trying to bridge 4 key research infrastructures, which are Daria, which is for the arts and humanities, Ariadne, which deals with archaeology, Clarin, which is looking at languages, and Operas, which is looking at open scholarly communication in the social sciences and humanities. So I won't go into huge amounts of details about our objectives, but I just wanted to give you an idea of some of the things that we're trying to do in order to achieve this goal. We're trying to improve access to these infrastructures and to the catalogues and repositories which form part of them, and try and make that research more widely available to arts and humanities researchers generally, by imposing citizen science and other inclusivity projects, and by developing workflows and demonstrators which can be are openly available so people can understand how to access these infrastructures and to coordinate information across them. We're also providing training. This is part of the core curriculum for the Atrium project, as well as the Transnational Access Scheme, which I'll talk about in a second. We're establishing a peer review network to try and encourage people to utilize data from across these research infrastructures in new ways. And as kind of core to what we're doing, we are promoting the FAIR data principles to kind of strengthen data management practices in the arts and humanities more generally. The Atrium project forms part of, have 17 partners across 14 different countries, including those 4 research infrastructures that we talked about, but also kind of affiliated organizations and beneficiaries. And we started last year, so we're about a year into the project now, just past our 1-year point, and we'll be running until 2027 as well. And here's just a look at some of the partners that we have, including the 4 research infrastructures at the top here and a number of affiliated entities and beneficiaries. I work for the Archaeology Data Service, which is based in the UK, and we're one of the beneficiaries and kind of lead on a couple of work packages. So let's move on to our Transnational Access scheme, which is our aim is to provide fully funded placements for 200 researchers and research teams to visit 16 of the organizations that I've just mentioned across the 4 years of our project. We are currently, that's going to be undertaken across 6 calls for the Transnational Access scheme. We're currently just opened call 3, which I'll talk a little bit about in a moment, but we've so far managed to facilitate about 60 to 70 researchers. Some of those have been successful but haven't undertaken their placements yet, so we're kind of well on the way to that goal, I think. And we do that in 2 different ways. Excuse me. The first way is by what we call summer schools. These are kind of more traditional training courses, usually on specific subjects, which run for a week or 2 during specific times of the year. Here's a group of researchers in the Czech Academy of the Sciences in Brno last year. They'll be based on specific topics, and they're very much geared to upskilling people in kind of arts and humanities based skills and research. And we also offer sorry, keep skipping slides. This individual access placements, these are more kind of research intensive one-on-one sessions where people apply to the scheme to undertake research projects, and they are really looking for specific organizations to host them so that they can facilitate their research. And this is undertaken on more of a rolling basis, so we invite applications to these types of this part of our scheme at any time during the year. And if you'd like to find out more, all of the information for our applicants in terms of how to apply, which is kind of a fairly simple form via our website, can be found on the website, as well as more information about the different calls which are open right now. You can scan this QR code if you'd like to get there directly. Otherwise, it's just atrium-research.eu, and you can find out a little bit more. And what I'd like to finish today is just talking about our 3rd call, which opened a couple of weeks ago, to give you an idea of some of the training schools and individual access placements that we're offering at the moment. So currently you can apply to be part of one of 11 different organizations as part of the individual access scheme. These are quite varied, and they range from the Belgrade Center for Digital Humanities to the Polish and European Literary Bibliography at the Polish Academy of Sciences. And if you go to the website, you can see a list of all of these different organizations and a detailed description of what they offer in terms of the different skills and expertise that they can provide for individual access placements. We're also offering 3 different summer schools this year. Each of these summer schools will last about a week. The first one in France, which is looking at automatic text transcription for historic manuscripts. The second one looking at training in creating, processing, and managing 3D data, and that's in Brno in the Czech Republic. And the final one, which is one that I'm hosting at the ADS, which is in data management and digital preservation in York. So this shows you the kind of variety of the different schemes that we offer and some of the placements that we are providing, and these change from year to year as well, depending on the goals and opportunities faced within the project itself. If you'd like to find out more about our successful placements, we also have a blog which is talks about some of the experiences of the people who have been successful as part of our Transnational Access scheme. This can also be found on the Atrium website. These are the ways that we try and get our applicants to report back to us about the successfulness of their placement, and this is a way to kind of engage other organizations and people within the arts and humanities community to try and come and apply to the Atrium TNA scheme. As I said, our third call just went live, and we just hosted two what we call showcase events, which is webinars just like this to talk about our successful placements. Those recordings will be available via our YouTube channel, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And we have a fourth call later this year and two more calls next year, and that will be the end of our facilitation of transnational access, unfortunately. But I'm hoping between now and then we enable a huge amount of arts and humanities researchers to undertake their research. If you'd like to find out more, please do visit our website. There's also an Atrium newsletter that I'd recommend signing up to, because all of the information about the new calls for transnational access will be available via that, as well as our social media channels as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nikki, for your presentation, and I strongly recommend everyone to take into consideration the deadline for the Atrium call. And now I will give the floor to the next speaker, Anneli Strobel from the Aquarius infrastructure. Anneli, the floor is yours.
Excellent, thank you. I'm directly going to start sharing my screen. Oh, where is it? Here it is. Right, please let me know if you don't see it in full screen, otherwise I directly go ahead. Thank you for having me. My name is Anneli Strobel. I'm based at the Alfred Wegener Institute in Bremerhaven, Germany, and I lead the work package on transnational access in Aquarius and lead the Aquarius call management office based at the Alfred Wegener Institute. Aquarius stands for Aqua Research Infrastructure Services for the health and protection of our unique oceans, seas, and freshwater system. The aim of the Aquarius project is to provide access to a comprehensive and diverse suite of 57 integrated research infrastructures to address challenges and explore opportunities for the sustainability of our marine and freshwater ecosystems. The project is funded under Horizon Europe. It kicked off in March 24 and it runs for 4 years. It will end in February 28. We have 45 partners from 18 different nations in the project. The budget is 14.5 million and we have 8.1 million dedicated for transnational access. And the Aquarius project and our transnational access calls have a dedicated thematic and geographical scope. The project operates under the EU mission Restore Our Oceans and Waters by 2030, and this slide highlights the framework that is guiding most of our activities. So our thematic scope is aligned with the core objectives of this EU mission, which is first preventing and eliminating pollution in our oceans, seas and waters. Second, protecting and restoring aquatic ecosystems and biodiversity. And third, enabling carbon neutral and circular blue economy. And geographically, our focus is on this mission ocean and waters regions. These are strategic areas across Europe that serve as hubs for piloting, demonstrating and scaling solutions. And these regions are the Arctic Atlantic region, the Mediterranean Sea, the Baltic and the North Sea, and the Black Sea and several river systems. So think of these areas as innovation hotspots that are driving systemic change and in how we integrate with water systems. And Aquarius supports this transformation by offering access to leading research infrastructures across Europe, allowing scientists and innovators to contribute directly to these EU mission goals. A starting point for the development of transnational access projects as part of Aquarius is our research infrastructure catalog. This is a single access point to 57 state-of-the-art research infrastructures across Europe. This includes everything from satellites, aircrafts, drones to 18 research vessels, and also several observation platforms and laboratory research facilities. And each of these infrastructures is catalogued by type and by its relevant EU mission region. the Arctic, Atlantic, Mediterranean, Baltic, North Sea, and Black Sea and the river systems. And you will also find logistical details like the usual area operation, available travel and logistics budget, and facility availability, all accessible in this catalog at the Aquarius website under agrarius-ri.eu/RI catalog. This slide gives an overview of the transnational access that is offered in Aquarius. So essentially, our transnational access allows researchers to access research infrastructures owned by our Aquarius beneficiaries. And through Aquarius, the researchers can apply for access to research infrastructures located in other countries outside their own base of operation. This access can be physical access, but also remote access or virtual access. And it includes the full logistical, technological, and scientific support during the use of the facilities. The access that we grant is through a competitive process that is based on scientific proposals, and only proposals that are scientifically excellent will be selected. And if successful, applicants receive then not only the access to the research infrastructures, but also travel expenses and logistics costs are fully covered by Aquarius. And our infrastructure span the EU mission ocean and water regions, so we're providing access to state-of-the-art equipment, but also data, samples, and expertise, and well-established networks in these EU mission ocean regions. And we can also grant up to 20% of our access units to users from outside the EU. And now I would like to talk about our transnational access calls, with which Aquarius aims to promote research and innovation projects. Aquarius supports innovation through 2 dedicated transnational access funding calls that are managed through a dedicated online platform that we specifically developed for the applications in the Aquarius project. And to apply, proposals must integrate multiple of our research infrastructures that we are offered and address the specific EU mission-related challenges. We welcome applications from academia, from science, from industry, but also from public bodies, citizen science groups, provided that they meet our eligibility criteria. And you can find more details and application guidelines on our website at aquarius-ri.eu/access. Our first transnational access call is already closed. It opened on 11th of November last year and closed 20th of January 25, and we are currently evaluating the proposals submitted to this call. And the second call will open on 2nd of September this year and stay open for submission of proposals until 28th of October 25. And here in this graph, you can briefly see the evaluation process of our in our transnational access calls. So proposals submitted to our calls will be checked for eligibility, then for the logistics feasibility, and then undergo a scientific evaluation by external scientific experts. We have an expert panel, the scientific expert panel, that oversees the whole scientific evaluation process, and in the end proposes proposals for funding that are then again logistically checked for their feasibility and then finally selected for access. This slide breaks down the 2 transnational access funding calls in Aquarius. So the call 1 that we had open focused on a regional access, where applicants address the challenges specific to one of these EU mission ocean and water regions. And the second call that will open in September this year will be a cross-regional access call, which is designed to fill the gaps left from the first call. So it will target themes and challenges that span more than one of the EU mission regions. And it will be a quite flexible call that allows cross-cutting proposals responding to interconnected water-related issues. This will be a great opportunity for researchers, that everyone who wants to build collaborative multi-regional solutions that align with the EU mission goals. And more details will be also soon available on our website under Access. The themes and the challenges of our Aquarius transnational access calls, under which the applicants should submit a proposal, align with the missions and the challenges from the EU mission Oceans and Waters. So proposals should focus on topics that are related to the sustainable management of aquatic resources, to promote the responsible use of marine and freshwater resources, or a topic could be ecosystem protection and biodiversity restoration, so proposals focusing on conserving habitats and enhancing biodiversity, or recovering degraded ecosystems. Other topics can be the pollution reduction and circular solutions, so addressing the reduction of chemical, nutrient, and plastic pollution, for example. Other focus can be climate resilience, multi-stressor adaptation, supporting the adaptation of climate impacts and environmental pressures through nature-based solutions and stressor assessments. Then we have also a topic which is the sustainable blue economy and innovation, promoting the development of eco-friendly marine industries. And we also encourage topics on proposals that include inclusive governance and public engagement to emphasize the importance of involving, for example, local communities and integrating local knowledge to raise the awareness of sustainable policies. And finally, I would like to mention our eligibility criteria that we have for submitting a proposal to an Aquarius transnational access call. So the applying user group leader and the majority of users must work in a country other than the country that owns and operates the infrastructure. So, for example, we cannot have a German research vessel with a German main user and more than 50% participants from Germany. So we want to foster access to the infrastructures from outside your country. What is strongly encouraged by Aquarius are also applications with a strong international cooperation components. The user groups that have more than 4 users from different organizations must include partners from at least 2 different countries. Only projects that are allowed to disseminate the results will profit from the transnational expert access. Then the user group leader must have an appropriate background and expertise to conduct the proposed work, and all information that we need for the scientific and logistic evaluation of the Aquarius eligibility criteria must be entered in our online application platform to allow us to properly assess the proposals. And we strongly encourage the inclusion of citizen science groups and also early career researchers, of course. So finally, I would like you to encourage and to spread the word about the upcoming Aquarius transnational access calls. So if you know scientists working in marine and freshwater research or early career researchers who are looking for training or internship opportunities, Aquarius offers the chance to access the world-class European research infrastructures with fully supported travel and logistics costs. And you can find more information about the upcoming calls on our website, as well as details on the eligibility criteria, as well as on how to apply. And of course, we also have a newsletter where you can sign up for the use of upcoming transnational access calls, but also training and internship calls, which is also fully supported by Aquarius. And of course, we also have social media channels where you can follow us on LinkedIn or X. And you can get in touch with us on hello@aquarius.eu in case there are any questions. Excellent. Thank you for your attention. I hope I stopped sharing. Yeah.
Thank you, Anneli, for your presentation, and save the date, the 2nd of September, for the opening of the next call of Aquarius. Before giving the floor to our last speaker of today's webinar, I would like to repeat again that you can find all the relevant information about the projects presented today and all the other projects that guarantee transnational virtual access on the database of Reach Europe that is on the Reach Europe website. My colleague Marina from ISCI put the direct link in the chat. This is for just to complete the information. Thank you again. And now I will give the floor to Professor Gaetano Festa from the GeoEnquire project. Professor Gaetano, the floor is yours.
Yeah, can you see my screen? I hope.
Yes, it is not in the, okay, now it is also in the presentation mode. Perfect.
Yeah, thank you, and thank to you, Andrea and Laura, and all the REACH team to having invited me for giving this talk and this opportunity to present the transnational access within the GeoEnquire project. And the main aim of our transnational access in this project are related to fostering interoperability and cross-disciplinary research in neuroscience, and this, we think, is realized through a strong integration between virtual access and transnational access. And a few words about the GeoEnquire project. GeoEnquire is an acronym standing for Geosphere Infrastructure for Questions into Integrated Research. Is a 4-year project. Now we have already passed the half of the project. We are at 30 months. This project involves 3 research infrastructure, having established the NERIC, EPOS, EMSO, and Excel, and involves 51 partners. And the main goal of the GeoEnquire is to provide access to data products and services, and it is mostly dedicated to researchers, but also other stakeholders, with the main aim to develop curiosity-driven studies. And the main expectation from GeoEnquire is to bridge the gap between the several disciplines involving the Earth, and mostly trying to overcome the barriers between the land, sea, and atmosphere research. And this is done within the project, exploiting innovative data management techniques, simulation and modeling methods, but also massive use of AI and techniques for analysis of big data. Coming back to the offer of the transnational access, we have 6 test beds within the GeoEnquire located across Europe. And the TA are revolving around the key scientific questions related to the comprehension of fundamental processes related to geo-others and geo-resources. For instance, the preparatory phase of earthquake, but also the relation between the sea floor and the solid parts of the earth and the geothermal exploitation. We have 6 test beds across Europe. Here we have 2 in Italy, the Irpinian Near Fault Observatory and Eastern Sicily Mount Etna in southern Italy. We have the Ligurian Sea with offshore cables in France. We have the underground Vedretto Lab, which is an on-fault laboratory in Switzerland. We have the Near Fault Observatory in Corinth, and finally we have submarine cables that explore indeed the behavior of the sea floor and oceanography offshore Madeira, and is the Ella Link Geolab. And beyond those test beds, we also offer transnational access for the use of software and workflows that belong both to the EPOS and the CHEES, which is the Center of Excellence for Exascale in Solid Earth. And those are dedicated to HPC simulation and the use of other workflows related to earthquakes, tsunami, and volcanoes. And also we offer transnational access at Excel facilities. Excel is the research infrastructure for CO2 capture, utilization, transport, and storage. And those are mainly related to the realization of surveys related to gas or fluid injection and the subsoil monitoring. And we have already seen the general principle of the transnational access that come from the EU, but we insist on 3 main access principles related to our TA. The first one is that the selection in the project is based on the scientific excellence And this also stays on the one hand on the breakthrough projects, the impact of the research even on society, and the quality of the API, paying attention to the career stage, but also, of course, we need the technical feasibility of the proposal. A specificity, I would say, related to our transnational access is that the results must be made available and shared, so the data and products that have been produced with the transnational access should be made later available through the research infrastructure as virtual access to the whole community, having a possible short embargo time. And finally, GeoInquire fosters inclusion. So we have as a target 40% of access reserved to female applicants and 35% at least to applicants coming from widening countries. So coming to the process related to our transnational access, we have after the closure of the call, indeed, we have a first step for the evaluation, which is made by this technical evaluation board, the TB, here. And we have an interaction at work package level with installation, and is related to technical, logistical, and financial feasibility of the project. As already stated before, we offer support not only for the access, but also for travel and stay to users. And then after this process that might require a revision of the proposal and a resubmission, at this level, the proposal after technical acceptance is evaluated by the TARP, so the Transnational Access Review Panel, which is made by internal and external members to the project. And the external members act as reviewers of the project itself. They also receive a support for making this evaluation, and they present the review. They are discussed, approved eventually, and finally, there is a contribution coming from the Equality, Diversity, Inclusion panel that indeed guarantees that the targets are met within the project itself. The targets I have presented before. And coming to the results we have achieved up to now, we have already issued 3 calls between January 2024 and March 2025, and we expect the next call to be opened on 19th of May. So this is the target date for people wanting to apply to this call. We evaluate between 20 and 30 projects per call, and we have a lot of application. Of course, this depends, not all the applications have the same appeal, and we received a lot of success for granting access to computational facilities with the use of software and a workflow. We have nearly met our inclusion criteria for the first 2 calls, so we have around 40% of application coming from people from widening countries and women. And also, we judge the quality of the proposal that have been approved very high. Around 2/3 have been ranked in the first quartile. So most of the application can be found on the GeoInquire website here, and I think that those presentations will be indeed shared after the end of this webinar. We make a lot of advertisement for the call. For instance, at national and international conferences, the European Conference for Geoscience, the UGG, the seismological conferences, but also at national level. We advertise on the project website and the project newsletter. We make posts on social media. GeoInquire does not have its own accounts on social media, but is connected to the related ERICs. We also advertise with scientific presentation and invited talks, distributing flyers at community workshop, and finally spreading the word coming from success stories. So for all the applicants, I invite you indeed to visit our website, think about possible experiment you could realize indeed in our installation, and apply within the next call. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Festa, for your presentation, and I will again remind you to everyone here to save the date for the opening of the fourth call of the GeoInquire call. We are perfectly on time. I don't know if there are any questions to the speakers. Otherwise, you can contact them in a further moment. Okay, so everything was clear so far. So thank you again to be our guest today and to explain us all the functioning to apply to your project for the transnational virtual access, and in general we have last minute question. Piotr, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. My name is Piotr Piłowaczyk, and I'm a coordinator of the NCPs project, which is also TNA related project. We are cooperating with the. I'm representing the consortium consisting of the neutron and photon sources. So our access is to large-scale research infrastructures in this domain. And I have a comment and the question to the Professor Fiesta. I noticed in your presentation that your targeted countries are the widening countries. And my question is if you have the already selected countries among those widening, or your project covers all of the widening countries in terms of the access. In our case, we are supporting and we have the priority access to 8 widening countries. We conducted the selection process, and now based on the specific criteria, we serve the access to these 8 countries. What is in your case? Thank you for the answer.
Yeah, thank you for your question. In our case, we open to the all widening countries. So, of course, we receive more interest from those countries which have already installation and strong research on our earth science field. But in principle, we open to all the widening countries as stated by the EU guidelines.
Does it includes also the associated countries to widening countries? Because there is an additional list to this, quite long, including Tunisia, Algeria. Are you open for those countries as well?
Yes, we are open, but maintaining the rules coming from the European Union, that we have the maximum of 20% outside EU.
Yeah, this is general. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. And I would like to stay in touch with you and discuss details if it's possible.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Piotr, for your question, and thank you, Professor Festa, for the clarification. Are there any further questions? Okay, so I would like to thank you everyone for your attention and for the attendance. This webinar has been created in synergy with other NCPs network, and for this I would like to thank HNN 3.0 from Cluster 1, Net for Society from Cluster 2 of Horizon Europe, Greenet from Cluster 5, and Care4Bio from cluster 6. And lastly, I also would like to thank the ERIC Forum for the cooperation for this webinar. From my side is all. Thank you again for your attention, and I invite you to join the next webinar that would take place in a few months, around summer 2025. Thank you, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.